Добрый день, дамы и господа.
Здравствуйте, мои дорогие друзья и наши любимые подписчики. Сегодня у нас необычная программа, у нас гость в
Необычный.
нашей студии, необычный гость. We're gonna have to speak English because of the wonderful guest that joined us. The wife will do the talk, most of the talking today.
Ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick recap, translating everything we discussed with Mr. Moldovan today. What I want to say, first of all, we are so grateful and appreciative of you joining our channel because we run one of the biggest communities in Boca. Well, actually outside of Boca, South Florida, I'd like to say, because we do have people that are in Tampa, again, outside of our county, but still people that are dealing with many issues. And can I call you Seth? Okay.
Sure.
Seth
Thank you.
happens to be
Yes,
Seth
absolutely.
happens to be our principal. Yeah, thank you. He's a principal of our wonderful, amazing school, Blue Lake Elementary in Boca Raton, which is one of the first questions that we always get asked is, what's a really good elementary school in Boca? And I'm like, the first one, I'm like, Blue Lake. It's amazing. It's a brand new school. It just started. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and the school, please?
Absolutely. I'm the proud principal at Blue Lake Elementary School, situated in Boca Raton. We are the newest school, not just in the Boca Raton area, but all of Palm Beach County. We have right now 740 students. We service the central part of the Boca Raton area. We have kindergarten through fifth grade students. And we opened in August of 2022. We are a brand new building sitting on land donated by the city of Boca Raton to the school board. So we're very blessed, and it's a pleasure to be on your show today and share a little bit of information that we have with your community.
Right. Thank you so much. And like I said, we really are appreciative of you coming here because we have, over the past year, I don't want to go into politics. Today is not a political show. We do shows that are politically driven, but today's not a political. But over the past year is when we saw a huge increase of Russian-speaking kids and Russian-speaking families coming here, whether they are coming from Ukraine or they're coming from Russia. And I know that many Ukrainian families are going to say, well, we speak Ukrainian, but a lot of them do speak Russian and are asking for assistance. And, we see this through Facebook, through like many sources. We also have a huge Telegram group that people know. We have over 1,000 people there actively asking every day questions pertaining to schools, questions pertaining to how to navigate the system that you deal with every day. And we just had, a beautiful event at Blue Lake, and we saw you, and this was like a perfect opportunity to bring you on and to actually discuss this, because we normally discuss this based on our knowledge. So it's perfect that it's coming from, the number one source. Can you explain, what do families that are coming here now, what do they need to do? Like, they're coming in here, a lot of them don't even know, they need to get like the medical forms. So one of the first questions that is asked is, what do we need? Like, they're here, but they don't know what they need.
Yeah, like, we are in America. What do we need to get our kids to school?
Yeah.
Right. Well, whether it's at Blue Lake Elementary or any school in the school district of Palm Beach County, I guess the first thing the parent needs to do is go on the school district website, enter their address under Find My School. And once they enter their address under Find My School on the district website, they can find out which school they need to register at. And all schools have a community zone. So you just can't pick what school you want to go to. It's based on where you live. So once a family would find out what school they go to based on where they live, they would then visit that school, and they'd have to have a couple items with them. They need to have a completed registration form. You can either get that at the school that you're going to, or you can get that online on the school district's website. You have to have 2 proofs of residence. You have to show the school that you live within their boundaries. That can be a current home telephone bill, that can be an electric bill, that can be your rent receipt, a lease agreement, a mortgage. Lots of different things. If you have a Florida driver's license, you need 2 proofs of residence. You'll also have to have a record of immunization. You can get that at a clinic, a health clinic, or at a local pediatrician, and you get those immunizations. You also have to have a physical completed, and you have to have a birth certificate. Once you have all those items put together, you can go to your home school based on your residence, and you can bring those papers with you and enroll in the school centers. We enroll students year round, so it doesn't just happen over the summertime. We enroll students all year round for the schools.
And then I know we just discussed this, but there is a translator in the school. Like parents can come in with their kids not speaking English, and you'll provide a translator to explain everything, correct?
Yes, at the as long as we're in the school year, we have a full staff during the school year. Most of our staff leaves on May 31st this year. But if you do come into the school centers, we're very lucky at Blue Lake to have a Russian facilitator, and we have a Spanish facilitator. I know where I was before at Verde K8, we had a Russian facilitator, Spanish facilitator, and a Portuguese facilitator. But most of the schools in the greater Boca Raton area have a Russian-speaking facilitator that will help the parents register and help the children get situated in the school center.
So in other words, for our viewers, we do not need to hire a translator or an interpreter to bring with us to the school for registration, right?
No, as long as it's during the school year when we have that staff on campus. I know that here at Blue Lake, our translators go on summer vacation per se at the end of May, but they do come back at the end of July, and they are available to register and help register students. So parents do not need to bring somebody with them.
Another question came in, but it was earlier in the year. Say if somebody is moving to Boca from Ukraine, Russia, or a different state, do they need to wait until the beginning of school year to register the kids? And we said no. But can you elaborate a bit on that?
Right. We do have a traditional start and end of the school year. This coming August, the first day of school is August 10th for all Palm Beach County schools, but we register students all year long. So if you're coming in September, if you're coming in October, December, you can come to your local school based on your attendance zone, and you can register your child at any time.
Quick question. This also arose earlier, actually, I think earlier this week, last week, I mean, transcripts. I know that some people are, certain people that have arrived within the last 6 months from Ukraine or Russia start schools in Hollywood, Hollandale, other counties, but they are transferring now into Boca and into Blue Lake. Do they need to have transcripts transferred?
No, you just need the registration documents. If the children were at another school here in the state of Florida, we can contact that school to get their academic transcripts so that we can take a look at what they were doing in those other schools. But you do not need transcripts from other schools. All you do is need those documents that I spoke about at the beginning of our session today.
Okay. Another question. Is there an assistance to kids that are Russian speaking and not English speaking? I know that currently my daughter, who is in Blue Lake, she has, I believe, 3 or 4 students who are Russian speaking, and she's been asked to translate and assist, which I'm very proud and happy for her to do so. And she also is a volunteer, and she'll be firsthand, go and try to assist as much as possible. But is there like an ESL program for students? I know that, we moved here from New York, and in New York there was an ESL program, and it was like specifically designed for kids that do not speak English. Is there something like this at Blue Lake or other schools in Palm Beach County?
Yes, at all schools in Palm Beach County, if your child does not speak the English language, starting in first grade, we do provide additional services to those students where our ESOL teachers work directly with them during reading or math time to help them make that merge of the language so that does not become a crutch. We also have our facilitators that work with those students, and they can translate. They can help them, whether it's in science, social studies, math, English language arts. We're very lucky to have a full-time Spanish facilitator and a full-time Russian-speaking facilitator that helps those students. Obviously, when you're in a classroom and there's other Russian students or whether it's Chinese students or Spanish or Portuguese-speaking students, the kids help each other or they might help the teacher. But we do have dedicated staff to assist students that do not speak the language, and also of our families that come in that do not speak the language. That they're here to help also.
Mm-hmm. That like I said, we'll discuss later down the show about certain things that I think would be helpful within the school system. Another quick question: are there any I want to say developmentally delayed programs for kids that have developmental delays? Are there any programs at Blue Lake or other Palm Beach County schools? Because that was another question that arose. We do have a few of our subscribers who've asked, where do we go? Because it's not like a regular school setting. I know that Blue Lake is multi-level school. Is there an elevator in place for kids that have wheelchairs? Can you elaborate on that?
Absolutely. That becomes a very interesting question that you do pose about students that may have a disability or have some kind of developmentally delayed academic history. If they did have a plan in their native country, right, or whether it's from Russia, Poland, Ukraine, if they did have a plan in place, the parents can bring those documents with them. We can have them translated, and we can provide those services as long as we are the school to provide those services. If we can't provide those services here at our school, we do work with an area representative that would tell us which school that family or that child would be best serviced in. But we do have programs, whether it's here at Blue Lake or other schools throughout the county, based on what documentation they would bring us on their disability or what they were receiving in their countries before they got to the United States.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
Question about those documents. Do they need to be translated and notarized, or they could just bring it, say, in Russian or Ukrainian language and
if they can bring them in Russian or Ukrainian or any language, we can work with the school board that has translators that can work on that. If they have them translated into English, we'll take those too, but they do not have to be translated. We can take any documentation and have it translated here in the school district.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay. Another question that has arose is that when kids start school and like there's testing right now, this is particularly to testing. If the kids don't do as well because they've immigrated into a new country, there's a language barrier, a lot of impressions, like negative or positive. Many of the kids are leaving war states right now, obviously in Ukraine, and again, there are, I would say, like psychological issues on top of being afraid of what's happening. So a lot of the parents are worried that their kids are going to get left back. For instance, like somebody who's going into a first, second, or third grade. Is that what it is? Is there summer school? How do we explain that?
Well, students in kindergarten through fifth grade, because that's the grade levels that we service here at Blue Lake. They do take state tests. They take tests throughout the school year. But if we have beginning speakers, still take the test, but they're not held accountable for those state tests for the first 2 years that they've entered the country. So we're not looking at retaining beginning speakers. They need time to be immersed into the language, be immersed into the culture. So really what we're doing is we're immersing them into the language. We're providing them the supports and their families the supports that they need, whether those are academic supports, social, emotional supports. But parents and families do not have to be scared about their child being retained or held back just because they don't speak the language. We definitely, give our students, and especially our ELL students, that time to adapt to the school, adapt to the language, and adapt to the new surroundings. You did speak very, very briefly on a part there about the social emotional, right? The behavioral. We do have a full-time behavioral health specialist on campus to help students and families that may be experiencing some of those traumas that you spoke about. Parents can reach out to us, parents can visit us, and we'll put them in touch with our behavioral health professional. And if she can't support their needs, she has community partners that she can get families in contact with that may need those additional supports outside the school center.
That's perfect. I'm glad that you said that because I know that many parents that come in, especially with younger children, like in elementary schools, I think it's a lot easier for a child, already like in teens to sort of understand what's happening and acclimate a little faster. Yes, there are, peer pressures and whatnot, but little kids are often confused as to what's happening. And I know that they're also the easiest, I think, to kind of get used to certain things, but they're also very impressionable at a very early age. I know this because we interact with a lot of the families, and they say, "Oh, my kids are like afraid, like because they're going to get laughed at in school because they don't speak English or whatever." And I always say, listen, I don't think I don't think that that'll happen because there's so many other kids. I know that one of the classrooms, like we just went to an event, there are so many diversities in school. There's so many different, like speaking uh, kids from many different countries, Russia, Poland, Ukraine, Italy. What else did we see from
Israel.
South America?
South
Is
America.
Israel? Yeah, Israel. Like so many different countries that we saw Spanish speaking kids. And I think Blue Lake is like the true definition of a very diversified school. You could attest to that because it like what we saw, it made me feel really, really good.
Yeah,
Because
I mean, we have a very diverse student population here, represented by many different countries, students from many different countries. Some students that have been in the U.S. for a longer period of time, some new students. I think all of our schools here in South Florida, especially in Palm Beach County, do represent a very diverse group of families and students, and I love that. That was one of the draws to become the principal here at Blue Lake was the diverse community to be able to serve and work with students that can share their heritage, can share their backgrounds. I mean, they do a great job with that, and we really recognize all those different students and make sure that they feel part of us and part of our community when they do start here at Blue Lake.
well, I want to share something with you. One of the things that always we get written is why Boca? People always ask us why Boca? Why did we move to Boca? And number one thing we say is schools, because Boca is known for their amazing schools, highly graded. One of the best teachers. And honestly, our daughter this is her second year. She did kindergarten in Calusa, and now she's in Blue Lake. She's doing her first grade. And we have an older child who did public school in another state. And I could tell you, I see a huge difference. I feel the reason why people move here. I understand it now. I do. I really appreciate everything that you do, everything that your staff does, because I feel like it's up to you and the teachers and the supporting staff to create the atmosphere in school. And I see it and I feel it, and I think that's why that's why Blue Lake is successful and other schools in Palm Beach County are successful, because often we get reached out and asked, where do we move, which is a good school. We like straight out in our face, we will find residencies zoned to that school. We explain that you have to be zoned, you have to be whatever. And they often say, okay, what address do I need to have? Like, where do we need to move to get into the school? Like that's what parents do. I wanted to also really quickly touch on upon, like, I don't think it's a lottery, a choice program, right? There's a choice program. So often parents cannot either find residencies to belong to Blue Lake or other schools, and they want to pick it as choice. Can you explain a little bit about that?
I can. I mean, I'm going to go back to what you shared before, as parents reaching out about coming to our community. I think we're very blessed here in the Boca Raton community because we have a very strong partnership with not only the county but with our city. Right, the city really takes care of the Boca Raton schools. They invest time, they invest money, they invest efforts. The business community is behind the school system here in Palm Beach County, but not just Palm Beach County, but in Boca Raton. So to all of your listeners out there, I think no matter what school you go to in Boca Raton, I think you're going to find a great setting for your child and children to be successful, to get the same services that I'm talking about at Blue Lake at any of these schools, whether it's Verde, Calusa, J.C. Mitchell, Hammock Point. I mean, all of the Boca Raton schools are very successful schools. Going back, to what you asked about choice, we are not a choice school, but there are some choice schools throughout the county. A choice school is a school that has a specific program, and it is a lottery process. So each year in October, the school district of Palm Beach County hosts a fair up usually at the fairgrounds in West Palm Beach off of Southern Boulevard. And families can go visit that fair and see all the different choice academies that they are throughout the entire county. Most of the choice programs that we do have are middle school and high schools choice programs, but we do have some elementary choice programs throughout the county. Some are dual language programs, some are medical magnets, some are culinary academies, but that does come out once a year, and that comes out in October. You have to apply for the different programs that you may be interested in, and then in April of that following year, you do find out whether your child got into a choice academy or not. But we have those sprinkled throughout the county.
Okay, beautiful.
Question. It's just a scenario. Let's put it this way, because I actually went through something like that when I was applying for high school when I came to the U.S. 30 years ago. When I went into school and I was tested with limited knowledge of English, but I was also tested for math, and my scores for math were lower, significantly lower, because of my understanding of the language. I just couldn't read the question properly and translate it to answer it mathematically. Would something like that occur, and how do you deal with testing students that don't speak English very well?
Right, and I'm happy you brought that up because we were just speaking about some of our ELL students the other day when I was taking a look at state tests. Right, they may not have the English language mastered, but they did extremely well in math actually. So we talked about how are we going to accelerate those students at the same rate that we do our English speaking students. We do have staff that would read the questions to them if we're allowed to. Whether it's our Russian or Spanish speaking students, we try to provide them some support in their native language so that we can see not that it's a language barrier, because most of these kids do very well in math and science, but we want to make sure that we're translating, that they're getting their information to us so that we're making sure we're making good placements for these kids from year to year. We see our ELL students catch on very quickly, being immersed into the language. And we really push here. I know at Blue Lake that equity and that inclusion of even our non-speakers or our students that are beginning ESOL students, if they're doing well in these subject areas, making sure that we put them into classes where they're going to be challenged and accelerate at the same rate that a English-speaking student would do at the same time.
Right. That's wonderful. I want to really. We don't have that much time, and we don't want to keep you up because we understand that you're very busy. But I would really want to touch upon certain issues that arise, and also some of the proposed resolutions that we kind of discussed. For instance, having a kids club, a Russian-speaking kids club for kids, and maybe organizing something like this so the other kids, the non-English-speaking kids, could have that time with the other kids that are English speaking and kind of interact, because I'm pretty sure like within the classroom setting they don't like different kids. I know, like for instance in Veronica's class it's only 3 kids, and in another class I know it's like 11 kids. So if we could put them all together in one room, maybe that would kind of help them out.
Yeah, I mean, Adelina, I'm once again happy you brought that up too, because that's something that we really want to do next year, is take a look at how we can reach out to our Russian families, our Ukrainian families, and bring everybody together where we might have some different evenings set up for them so that families can meet each other, so we can put some supports in place, because I know that some families speak very good English, right? And they've been in the country and they're very set. So maybe we could match families up to support our ELL students, specifically our Russian and Ukrainian families, and different activities throughout the school year, just to help parents navigate. As you say, they're always asking questions, finding out from our families what we could do to support them better, not only for their students' success, but how can we support them in our community, because I want our families to come and volunteer. I want them to be part of the Blue Lake family.
Right. Right, and that's kind of what we discussed, a week ago, where I would be more than happy to come in and volunteer my time to help and navigate through the system, because that's what I see all the time. I'm doing it as is. We are already answering the questions. We're already helping families. We're already telling them, okay, well, you need, number one thing you need is you need a physical, and you need the vaccinations. You need to go to, like, I already know which of the MD nows do it, because they come here, they don't have a pediatrician. Sometimes, I'll be honest with you, pediatricians, you have to wait for like a month and a half to get into a pediatrician's office, because they're just packed.
And there are also free services in the school district at the school district's main building in West Palm Beach, that if you do need vaccinations and you do need things, that they can go online, and those are available over the summertime. I think the biggest thing I can tell your families that are looking to get into the schools is don't wait, right? Come, let us help you. Let us help you get registered, because we need your children in school. We want your children. We want your children to be in school, and them being home, not being in school. We want them as soon as possible.
Right. No, I completely understand. And that's what I always say, like, don't wait, don't sit around. A lot of the families, like I said, are willing to pay, but they just don't know where to go, because here they are in a new country, don't have the language, and again, don't know what the requirements are, which you already described, like we already have it. A lot of the families come here, like they're on the U4U program, which I'm sure you've heard of, the families from Ukraine. So they're thinking they need some kind of political documentation to bring into school, saying that they're here on that program or whatnot. And I always say, no, like get an address. You have an address, you have a bill, just come in with a bill. No one's going to ask you. Just show up. No one's going to ask you for anything. A lot of again, I think because there's so much improper information floating around online, where some parents went through one type of an experience, and then other parents went through another type of an experience. They don't know. But it's good that you just mentioned that Palm Beach County has free services. I will try to get is that on the website?
Yes, I will send that to you so you can share that with your community of the different.
Beautiful. Yes, we will share that. Yeah, we will share
that. If we have questions after the video, would it be okay to forward the questions to you, translated, of course, in English already?
Or like certain questions that we have, is there,
yes, like, absolutely.
If we cannot answer them at this point, I feel like I could pretty much answer any questions. I did learn something new today, which was the free services through Palm Beach County. I never knew that. I always directed them to multiple urgent cares that I know that would see the parents right away. I knew that. I also knew about certain programs and certain testings. Quick question. Sure. This just arose, and I just remembered about G&T, gifted and talented. A lot of the families that are coming here, they want to, like, once the kids are coming in there and they see that the kids are doing well, they want to test. They want to test into the gifted and talented program. Does Blue Lake offer this? What does it entail? Can you explain a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, we do have a full-time gifted program here at Blue Lake. Many schools in the greater Boca Raton area have that. What I tell parents is that when your child does come, and if you feel that you do want that, talk to your child's teacher. Say that you're thinking that they may, be gifted and talented. I always let parents know, give us about 6 weeks to get to know your child, because a teacher has to fill out a form also, and you don't want to rush that without the teacher really knowing your child. But if you do feel that that's something that you'd like us to test, we do that. We do a screener initially, and then if we go past the screener, the school does do that for free. Also, if parents do have some kind of documentation that their child wasn't a gifted or talented program somewhere else, they can bring that to us, and we can work on creating something called an educational plan for them, and they would go right into those services. So, you can do it either way. If your child was or is gifted and talented in another place, whether it's in another city, another state, another country, you bring that documentation to us, and we can take a look at it, or we can do that testing here after the children have been in school for a little while and get them into our program.
Beautiful. Seth, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, we are very thankful for you to come here and explain, talk about these issues that arise constantly. And if we have any more questions, we'll be reaching out to you, and we really appreciate it. And let us know what we could do. We're here. We're willing to, volunteer our time and kind of become, like you said, part of the Blue Lake family. So,
and I'm gonna do that. And thank you very much for giving me some time to speak to your groups today and everybody out there, on the internet and in your programs. I just think that, we want your children to be here in school. I believe in Palm Beach County Schools. I've been, an employee here for almost 30 years, and I have a son who's 13 years old in the Palm Beach County School District. So I believe in it. I value it, and we want your children to come and be part of our amazing school district.
Thank you,
Thank
Seth.
you very
Really
much,
appreciate
Seth.
it. We'll be in contact.
Have a good day.
You too. Have a good day. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.